So the survey will be interesting. So good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Jamboard. If you haven't heard of Jamboard before, it's just a collaborative digital whiteboard that's powered in the G Suite. So we'll get into how to access it in a minute. But before we start, if you could click on the link that Andy sent in the chat, go to, I think this is slide 3, and tell us, have you used Jamboard before or no? And so you could just click on this. It pops up. I've used it before. And then this will tell us our results. Andy, while we're waiting, do you want to talk a little bit about that extension? Because I know it's pretty popular.
Yeah, so this is, I'm trying to find the name of it. This is an extension called Slides Poll. And whenever you are using it, and you can download it in your add-ons, but it will just give you like the option. It's really basic, but it's something that you could put a simple poll up here, and it'll embed this, and you'll be able to hit the update as you go through. So you can just show something quickly if you wanted to. If you're going to come to our Pear Deck session later, Pear Deck can also do something like that. So shameless plug for Pear Deck at, I don't know, 2 o'clock today, but this is a good one. I'll put that in the chat, but Slides Poll is what this is called. And I really like it. So if you click on it, on the vote, yep, you might need to. So Kim, if you click on the vote on the slides, it'll pull up a little form for you to take, and then that will come in.
Will pop up. So I'll give you one more minute and then we'll refresh. But yeah, this is really neat that you can see the live updates of the poll. Okay, we ready? Refresh.
Okay, 4 to 1. 4 no, 1 yes.
Well, 1 yes. There we go. Okay, let me go back to that mode. Okay, so welcome. My computer's being a little slow. There we go. So far we have 1 person that said yes. But it's nice to know if you've used Jamboard before, because some of the things that we go over could be pretty boring if you've already used it. So when you pull up a jam, and again, this is in our G Suite, that you basically see, over here where it says untitled jam, that's where you would name your file, just like with Google Docs or Google Slides. Over here on the left-hand side are your tools. So that's your pen, your highlighter, your paintbrush. And when you click on it, and we'll show you that later, different tools will pop up, but they're essentially all different types of pens. You have an eraser. If you want to get, this is just a select tool, so if you want to get back to the mouse, you just use that. You have sticky notes. You can add an image, whether you're adding it from your computer or if you're searching for on the web to use an image. You have different shapes, text box, and then a laser pointer. And so to access Jamboard, it's just like any other G Suite tool. You go to the waffle. You might need to scroll down a little bit until you can see Jamboard. And
so
then,
with that,
go ahead.
I was going to say there's 2 different, on a Chromebook, there's a Jamboard Chromebook app, and then there's a web app. So you can use either one. The kids can use either one. Some tricks of the trade that I'll give Lewis a shout out, because he did try some of the stuff earlier this year. The Chromebook app is going to be much better for the kids to be able to annotate on and be able to write with their stylus and different things like that. So it depends on what you want them to do. And Kate's going to show you a lot of these different things. But the Chromebook app is going to be better for some of those different things. The web app, which is what we're showing you here, is going to be much better if you're going to add any PDFs, if you're going to be adding any images or anything like that. It works much better for, honestly, you could use the Chromebook app, but I personally exclusively use this, because the web app, just because it's much easier to use. Sorry, Kate, go ahead.
Nope, you're good.
Here we
And
go.
then, so if you want to create a jam, there's a orange plus sign in the right hand lower corner. And then once you hit that, it just pops up. And then, like I said, you have all of these tools over here that you can choose from. You have your pen, your marker, your highlighter, or your paintbrush. There's my rudimentary heart. You have an eraser, sticky note, picture. You can add anything from a Google image search, from your Google Drive. If you hear your shapes, sorry, they're your shapes, text boxes, and the laser is the only thing I just wanted to show really quick because it doesn't stay, it goes away. So if you're like over here in this heart and you want to point something out, the laser will then disappear. And then while we're here, just to show you the sharing options, it's just like any other Google, Google Slide, Google Doc. You know, it's locked right now, but if you're sharing it with, you know, your students, you'd want to hit change the link to Southern York County. And if you want them to view, for some reason, they're not, you know, collaborating on it, leave it at viewer. If not, you're gonna obviously change it to editor and then share that link with people. Let's go back here. Okay, oh, the background, I forgot to talk about the background. So you can change the background. You know, if you're doing something, you can obviously use an image too, but you are able to change the background to any of these pre-selected templates here. So we are going to jam. So I just have a quick activity, and there's only like 4 of us, so it won't take long. But if you could either type in this link or click on it, it's going to take you to a jam that we made. And it's just going to ask you, you know, just what has been your greatest success this year, and what has been your greatest challenge. So if you could just pick one and use a sticky note, just pick, you know, either your greatest success or your greatest challenge, or if you want to do both, you can do both. But just click on sticky note. You can change the color. If you don't want a color, you can obviously hit none. I'm just going to say my greatest challenge has been working with parents who have very little technology at home. And then it's going to save over here, or I'm going to save on the same spot. So you'll just want to make sure you move it around. And so this is just a really small example of something you could do collaboratively. You know, the one thing that we don't like about Jamboard as of now is that, you know, it's not like you can make every kid have their own copy. I don't even know if you can force a copy. I guess you could. But, you know, if you want every kid to have their own frame, you could by just adding more frames. And then, you know, labeling each frame with some kid's name or a number, or you say, I don't know exactly how you'd want to work that. But you can collaboratively work on the same exact jam.
You know, this is something that, you know, Kim had a really good question about when we're talking about them writing with their stylus on here. I like, this is honestly one of my favorite ways to use it with the stickies, because then you can get a lot, you know, crowdsourcing and understanding of things that way. So you can just have them type in their answers instead of actually writing anything with it. Even if like, you know, if Kate went to another screen and built like a Venn diagram, which you could do, you know, that's again where they could put stickies and something like that. You know, and here is just a simple way that you could do that, and then you could just make the background transparent of one of them. In fact, I'm going to put the link in here again. But anyways, you know, not the easiest or the cleanest way, but if you were going to use this collaboratively with either your kids in your classroom or whenever they're at home, or a combination of them, you know, it would be assigning, okay, Kate and Andy have, oh my gosh, frame 2. I forgot the word frame. Frame 2, you know, Erica and Marcy have frame 3, and then you keep going down the line. I do know that there are high school teachers that have done it that way and has been successful whenever they're using this for collaborative work. So, you know, that's a really, it's not the cleanest way, but it's an effective way that you could do that.
Cool. So thank you for doing that.
Thanks for jamming with us. Yes.
Yeah. So how do we share Jam? We kind of went over it. It's very similar to Google Docs. I mean, it is a G Suite tool, so it's the same way. You just want to make sure you're deciding whether you are having the students view it or edit it. That's really the only difference. So we'll go through these pretty quickly. This is obviously a very elementary idea, but you can upload PDFs or you can upload images and you can have kids annotate them. You can obviously change the background or you can upload your own, but you can have kids do demonstrations and do like a screencastify of it, or explain their thinking of whatever they're doing, whether it's science, math, English, whatever you need them to do. But they can, as they're building it, or maybe they've already built it and they need to discuss it, they can do a screencast of their final outcome. As we were talking about earlier, if you want to, take a math problem or whatever it might be, and have them discuss their thinking or solve something, you can just duplicate it. So once you've created that first frame, you can duplicate it and it'll copy it, and then you can assign students to certain numbered frames or exact number frames. You can crowdsource with Post-its, which is exactly what we just did. The Post-its are really fun. Different colors can be fun as well. And obviously you can manipulate them all over the screen.
And somebody asked, sorry, Kate, somebody asked about, a different exit strategy out of a lesson for them to do. And then somebody else was asking, how do I get the kids something other than just Flipgrid or a Padlet? This is a really good way to do that. Adding some of the stickies for, getting quick information that you want from the kids.
And then compare and contrast, which is obviously very simple, but this is more showing you that like you can find images on the internet and then add them to your Jam. It's not like you're limited to just what's on your computer, which is pretty awesome. So
and then one other way that we didn't put in there. I know, Kate, I keep that I just forgot to add in there. And it's a very simple thing, but a couple of teachers recently have also been asking about wanting something simple for notes, and this would be another simple way for the kids to be able to. There's no math teachers here, but any math teachers that listen, or anybody, if you're doing anything in science for an experiment or lab or whatever, they can do their notes through this and then either share it with you, build a PDF and send it to you, whatever that is, as they export it out. Because you can, do we want to show that? We didn't do that in the middle school one, is showing, exporting this out if we didn't want to share it as a Jam, but just as like keep it as a stagnant document. There you go.
Right here. You mean, is that what you're talking about? The PDF? Yeah.
So like if, going back to Kate's idea of having, the kids build different things, you could have them download this as an image, whatever they build or whatever you build, if you're going to use it somewhere else, and then it'll come out this way. Again, there's a million different things you can use for that, but that could be, an assignment or an option for them to do. Okay. So, I think I'm done for real now.
No, you're good. I was just thinking about how to show this part. So essentially you can make I think I got to go back here. So can you see my 3 dots? Andy,
yeah.
Can you? Okay.
Yep.
So if you want to use Jamboard with Google Meets, you can do that live in a Meet. You just hit these 3 dots. Some people are going to have this because it's a brand new thing. Like Andy, when he hits the 3 dots, he does not have open a whiteboard. So I have open a whiteboard. I can choose a Jam I've already used, or I can start a new one. And then it's going to share it with all of you. And then it's going to pop up. And then automatically we will be able to use this Jam during our section. Is it updating live for you all? Okay. So, yep. There's different ways that you could use this during your meets, but you don't have to worry about sharing settings like we did before. If you use it this way, you still have the opportunity to save it as a PDF, and you can, it gave me the option of choosing a new one or choosing a jam I've already made. So you could pre-make a jam with activities, and then this could be an interactive way to do your synchronous sessions for those that are at home and in school, or for those, whatever, however you want to use it. Andy, I can't see you. There you are. You want to add?
No, I mean, for me, this is something that I would, if you have a group of kids that are in a meet with you and you're trying to show them something, you could always have a jam up already, or you could just go this way and it automatically sends it to just the kids that are there. You don't have to worry about your sharing settings or making sure you've done any of those different things. This is a feature for that particular purpose. If you're doing office hours or you're doing something on the fly.
The only thing I don't know is, well, never mind. I do
Go ahead.
That was a dumb question. I haven't had my coffee yet. I was going to say, when I click out, does it click out for you? But that's me. I haven't had my coffee yet. Okay.
Does anybody, so we got a small group, does anybody have any questions that you want to ask, or have us go further into? I mean, we don't want to undersell the complexity of Jamboard, but it is a Google product, meaning that it's created in a way to hopefully make it easy to use. And it's super nice that it shares the same way. One thing that we didn't show is that you can make a jam collaborative, and then you can turn it on. So you could have the editing rights of everybody to be able to do like that sticky note idea. And then you can change it to view only if you wanted to stop and have a discussion. So that's something that we can get in Jam 202 at some point. But that's, somebody else was frustrated because kids were manipulating things after the fact, and they were thinking they should just download it as PDF, which can, or an image, but you can also just turn the sharing permissions to view. But if you have any questions, now's a good time if you want us to show anything. It's only 8:06 a.m., so I understand it's Wednesday and everybody's tired, but.
I have a question, and this may be dumb, but so I like the idea of, you said you could upload a PDF. That would be cool, and then you could ask kids to read something and comment, whether they write a comment or they do sticky notes. If I want to send that out to all of my students, to them to work on, I'd want them to view it. I'd keep it in view only, right? But I want them to edit it. So would they make their own copy of it, or? So
it depends on, and Kate can weigh in. It depends on how you do you want them all to each do their own?
Yes.
And then you're doing it to your different sections.
Yeah. If I want them all to each do their own, that's exactly right.
So a couple ways. If you're going to do it to your 3 sections that you have, or whatever that is, I would do a jam per section. But if they're adding sticky notes to that, do a jam per section and then assign a frame to each one. So Kate would be frame 1, Erica would be frame 2, you would be frame 2, Kim frame 3, Marcy 4. But do 3 different jams, or else you're going to have 120 frame Jamboard, which could get messy, even if you don't combine it. But Kate, do you have any other wisdom?
Yeah, I don't know. So you have to forgive me. Canvas doesn't like me, so I don't know how Canvas works. The district has tried so hard to get me a Canvas account, I cannot get in. So correct me if I'm wrong, Andy. But you can force a copy on the regular jam. Then they make the copy, and then they could submit it back to her in Canvas. I just don't know how sharing settings work within Canvas.
Yeah, that's a good way too. Yeah. Does that make sense, Erica?
Yes. Yeah. That's my question is, that would be neat to me, is that they can make their own copy. If I post it in Canvas, they can make their own copy and then submit it back.
Yeah, that's a better way.
Okay.
But yeah, it's okay. It would just work similarly to creating an assignment. I'll let you use my account someday.
Thanks.
That's not a dumb question at all, Eric. That's a good question. Any other questions that you all have?
You want to stop recording?
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for coming, everyone.